starting. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 19. Yo mamev sammudho janati purushottamam sa sarva vibhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. Yo mamev sammudho janati purushottamam sa sarva vibhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. Yo mamev sammudho janati purushottamam sa sarva vibhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. Word to word translation. Yeah, anyone who. Mam, me. Evam, thus. Asamudha, without a doubt. Janati, knows. Purusha Uttamam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Saha, he. Sarvavid, the knower of everything. Bhajati, renders devotional service. Mam, unto me. Sarva Bhavena, in all respects. Bharata, O son of Bharata. Translation. Whoever knows me as a Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He, therefore, engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are many philosophical speculations about the constitutional position of the living entities and the supreme absolute truth. Now, in these words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains that anyone who knows Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Person is actually the knower of everything. The imperfect knower goes on simply speculating about the absolute truth, but the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness, the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Throughout the whole of Bhagavad Gita, this fact is being stressed at every step. And still, there are so many stubborn commentators on Bhagavad Gita who consider the supreme absolute truth, the living entity, to be one and the same. Vedic knowledge is called Stuti. The Vedic knowledge is called Sruti, learning by oral recitation. One should actually receive the Vedic message from authorities like Krishna and his representatives. Here, Krishna distinguishes everything very nicely, and one should hear from this source. Simply to hear like the hogs is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from the authorities. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. One should submissively hear from Srimad Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this, according to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, knows the purpose of Vedas. One, no one else knows the purpose of the Vedas. The word bhajati is very significant. In many places, the word bhajati is expressed in relationship with the service of the Supreme Lord. If a person is engaged in full Krishna consciousness in the devotional service of the Lord, it is to be understood that he has understood all the Vedic knowledge. In the Vaishnava Parampara, it is said that if one is engaged in devotional service of Krishna, then there is no need for any other spiritual process for understanding the supreme absolute truth. He has already come to the point where he is engaged in devotional service of the Lord. He has ended all preliminary process of understanding. But if anyone, after speculating for hundreds of thousands of lives, doesn't come to the point that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and that one has to surrender there. All these speculations for so many years and lives is useless, waste of time. Om Jnanam Timirandasya Jnananjala Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Mano Abhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं सजीवं सावधेतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे. So today we are reading from chapter 15th, 19th verse, and it's a very auspicious month. Purushottam Mass is going on, and the name of the chapter is also Purushottam Yoga, the yoga of the Supreme Person. So it's very wonderful that we are reading. It's by chance or by luck that we have come across this verse in this particular month. So Krishna has given a full knowledge from the beginning of this chapter till 19th verse. He has given all beautiful knowledge about himself. He has also mentioned about his own Golok Vrindavan in this chapter. In verse 6, he has mentioned about Golok Vrindavan, and he's saying, न तद्भास्यते सूर्यो न शशांको न पावका यद्गत्वा निवर्तन्ते तद्धामं परमं मम. So this chapter is considered one of the best jewels of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and all the qualities of Krishna is being carried into this chapter. We all are reciting this chapter every day, especially in the month of Purushottam Mass. So in so many places we read like Krishna is asking us to surrender, but here he has said, without doubting anything, the one who knows him is a knower of everything. So there are so many scriptures and Vedic studies are available, but when we understand Krishna without any doubt, then we understand everything in full. So we can say that uh, there are so many scriptures which are ultimately leading us toward the ultimate knowledge that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Okay, we can start up like asking ourselves, who are we? The first and prime question about anybody who is asking for himself, why I am here and who am I? So the first answer to this is you will tell your name that I am, my name is this, her name is this. This way is we are giving our material identity. But when we come to the spiritual understanding, then we say, I am the part and partial of Krishna. So this is the right understanding. All living entities belongs to Krishna, and supreme personality of Godhead is the one who has manifested everything, whether we called it material or spiritual. So now people ask, who is supreme personality of Godhead? So the simple answer to that is Krishna. And Krishna is the same Krishna who is Nandanandan Krishna, who is Yashoda Nandan Krishna, who is Bal Gopal, who is Dwarakadhish Krishna, who is a Mathuravasi. Yes, he is the one. He is having a lot many names based on his different pastimes because of his different leelas. He is having a lot names, but he is the one, only one Krishna. Understanding Krishna is not difficult. He is so attractive. All devotees, Mayavadis, Samarthas, everyone get attracted to Krishna because of his any one of the pastimes. All devotees get attracted to different forms of Krishna. We don't say that everybody is attracted to one particular form of Krishna. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Rupa Goswami has mentioned Krishna as Akhila Rasamrita Murti. There are one who is full of all the mellows. Krishna is having all the complete mellows in him, in his name, pastimes, in his uh, whatever activities he performs, he attracts everybody. So there are different rasas, 12 main rasas Out of that, there are five main rasas. So Krishna is having full of these rasas in his name, activities, and all in his gunas. So Dasya these five main rasas are Dasya Shantaras, Sakhe, Madhure, and Vatsalya. Beside there are few permutation and combination mix of these rasas. In all these way, devotees get connect to Krishna in one of the form of these rasas. So as I was mentioning, like in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami is giving one beautiful uh, scene at when Krishna is going to enter into the wrestling field when he has traveled from Vrindavan to Mathura, and he's been invited by Kamsa, who is his material uncle. So Kamsa has invited Krishna, and he wanted Krishna to get killed in that wrestling, uh, you know, in that wrestling scenario. So they're all big wrestlers, Chanun, Mushtik, and there are many more are there. So when Krishna is about to enter the wrestling uh, um, stadium, every individual is seeing Krishna in a different manner, even though the Krishna is same. But the bhava and the because of the bhava, everybody is relishing different rasa, the different mellow. So when Krishna is entering, there are some who are watching him as a great wrestler. Like I mentioned, Charud and Mystics are also there. So they are enjoying his entrance, saying, yeah, we're gonna enjoy a fight today because he is really a strong wrestler. Even though he's just a 11 around 11-year-old child, but wrestlers are seeing him as a strong person. So they were just into enjoying into the Veer Ras, that we're gonna enjoy a Veer Ras with him fighting a good wrestling with Krishna. So they are in the mood that he is a strong person. There are few women, they were sitting into the audience and they were young, and they were when they were seeing Krishna, they saw him as a handsome Cupid personified. So they were saying, "Oh, he's so handsome. Why he has come here for all this wrestling sport? He's so handsome." They are absorbed into the locks of Krishna's hair and the color of his body, his beautiful eyes. So they are seeing Krishna as a beautiful Cupid personification. And there are few motherly age gopis who were also sitting there, and few other women who were of motherly age sitting there, and they were enjoying, and they were saying, "Oh, he's such a young child. Why he is here? He's such a shishu," means a small, just a small baby who needs mother's attention. So everybody is perceiving Krishna differently because of their the bhava, and because of the bhava they are testing uh, different rasas. And then few of them are seeing him as a Vishnivamshi, and they were like, "Oh, he belongs to the Andhakas, Vishnivamshi, the Chandravanshi." So they're gonna give a good name. They will, rise the name of our um, community. So everybody, why I'm mentioning it here, that Krishna is the one who is the supreme personality of Godhead, but he's been perceived differently in just a one stadium, which different people are sitting. He has come for wrestling, but different people are taking and enjoying his presence differently. So we understand out of this that Krishna is the one who attracts everyone. He has attracted even the wrestler, the young girls, the motherly aged women, and the elderly people, those who are seeing him as his Vishnivamsi and Andhavanshi. And this way, he is attracting each and every person. So, Krishna is the one who attracts. That is the simple definition Srila Prabhupada has mentioned. And also, there was few days back when I was reading some of the books that Prabhupada has mentioned, that somebody asked him who is the supreme personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada called one young, very little girl and asked the same question, who is the supreme personality of Godhead? Prabhupada asked that particular question to the little girl, and she just simply said, Krishna. So understanding it's very easy, but we have to stop contemplating. Like it's mentioned here in Prabhupada, all purport you will see Prabhupada is giving stress on the word that we should not go on speculation. We should not waste our time, life on speculating the same thing which is being given in a very simplified manner in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So the philosophical speculation will lead you nowhere. It will waste the time. and we are very much limited with our time. In Srimad Bhagavata, once Srila Prabhupada was quoting in his lecture that Krishna is open to everyone, but everyone needs that capacity to understand him. Then he mentioned further, by external feature, one cannot understand Krishna the way he is. According to one's attitude, Krishna becomes as easily as you surrender. So the thing is, our surrender is actually going to attract Krishna. This is not Krishna's partiality. It's about our response, our ability to understand him the way he is. So this way we can understand Krishna's mercy, Krishna's name, Krishna's what you call kripa is available to each and every individual. It depends how much we are surrendering, how much we are endeavoring, and how much we are dedicated toward our surrender to Krishna. Reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita is very important because it gives a direct connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the one who has created everything in the house where we're living, the temple we are doing services, wherever we are. All this cosmic manifestation is created by Krishna only. There is no other one. We should think always that we are living in a rented house. Take an example like when we live in a rented house, we get attached to that house even that house doesn't belong to us fully, but the same house, the same floor, the bed, the windows, the door, everything, we start getting attached to it. But that is not the correct knowledge. That house belongs to someone else. We are just living there for some time. That is the rented house or the rented apartment. Same way, we are here, we are enjoying the houses, the offices, the beauty of the nature. But everything is Krishna's. It's His mercy that He is letting us enjoy all these things. So we should not get attached to it, all these things, and we should not get swept away with all these things that there is something beyond Krishna. There is nothing beyond Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna and everything ends in Krishna. So there are few devotees which come into the category of Nitya Siddhas. Those becomes the mothers and fathers of Krishna. They are called Nitya Siddhas. And some are Sadhana Siddhas. Sadhana Siddhas are those devotees who take up the devotional service life after life and they continue onto the path of spirituality. And one day they elevate themselves and they get into the service of Krishna. So we are into the process where we are doing the sadhana bhakti. We are dedicating our all endeavors. We must dedicate our endeavors to the service of Krishna. There is a beautiful story I want to relate here with this chapter 15 because, as I said, this month is very much related to this particular chapter, chapter 15. So long back, the story comes from Padma Purana, and Shiva is narrating this story to Parvati ji, and he is mentioning that once there was a kingdom, and king was his name was Narasimha. The name of the king was Narasimha, and he was a very powerful king and a pious one, and he had one big desire to bring all the world under one empire that he gonna own. So he worked very hard. He did few invasions. He did some yagnas, all this pujan archan. He acquired the path of spirituality to attain his material desire. He succeeded, and after that he became so peaceful. And he said, "What I wanted to achieve, I have achieved. The whole world is under my empire. I thank to the Lord, and I'm very happy for that." And there was one of his chief commander who was working with him past so many years. So to honor him and to show his gratitude toward the chief marshal in chief, he said, "You take up a good post." He's given him good palace, good amount of money, servants, and all good opulences, and given thanks to that person. And that chief was not actually happy. He thought to himself, and he was always contemplating that actually I was the one who was working very hard. It's not the emperor, it was me who was working hard, and it was me who was making on plans. It was me who was giving all training to the army official to invade and get success. But the king has taken, the emperor has taken all good what I have done. So actually, I should kill him. He wanted to assassinate the king and take over his kingdom. He was making plans and was about to do this assassination, but somehow, by the mercy of the Lord, this chief got cholera and he died soon. He was very much attached to the kingdom because he was thinking he is the one who is entitled to this kingdom, but he died. That was his destiny. After some time, there was, oh Krishna, I'm so sorry. The Zoom. Oh. I'm sorry for the interruption. The phone just fall. So after some time, one big businessman came to the kingdom and said to the king, "King, I have bought one very expensive horse for you, and the horse is one of the best horse in the world. I have checked everything, and he is having all the best of his uh, the power, the skin, the color, everything is the best." So he asked a good amount of money from the king, and king, without a second thought, given a really good amount to that uh, to the person, and the person given the horse to the king and just went away. The king was very happy to take this, and he was riding, going for some time, spending his time. And after some days, he decided that he's gonna go with his ministers to keep for some kind of practice for further of his ministers. He took and he went to jungle for practicing his archery. He went more deep inside with the horse, and by the destiny, the people who were following the king, they were also went in different directions. So they really lost the way. So the king was more deeper into the jungle and could not connect with his people. And there he was thirsty and went near to one water body, and he made the horse drink the water, and he himself had the water. There, what happened? There was one palm leaf was floating over the top of the this water body, and somehow the king made out it's a shloka. He read that shloka, near about the half of the shloka he read, and the horse just collapsed there. He left his body, and he took up the form of his first chief who was taking care of his military force and all. And the king was surprised, and he wanted to ask few questions to him, but in that few moment, the plane from Vaikuntha came and took the soul away to the Vaikuntha Lok. He was so surprised that how a horse left his body and the soul was of same person who was earlier as his chief. He just wanted to figure it out what's happening. He was really bewildered with all these things. So somehow he made his way and tried to find out the source of this water body, and there was he landed up to one ashram where all the rishis and brahmanas were doing their sadhana bhakti and their tapasya. So there, what happened? He inquired about his query that this what happened down when I was drinking the water and my horse was also taking some rest and had some water. This what happened in between. He left his body and his soul went back to Vaikuntha, but he was the chief who was earlier posted as a military head in my army. So the Rishi Muni knows everything. They said actually he was the one who plotted your assassination, and by the divine wish you saved, he died, and now you read the shloka on a palm leaf, and because of that shloka recitation, he left his body and achieved the ultimate abode, Vaikuntha Loka. And he said, what was that verse? So the Rishi said that verse was from chapter 15th of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, or what we are reading this month. So that is why I have related this, like When we are reciting Bhagavad Gita shlokas, we are getting immense amount of benefit. In this story, we can understand that the horse, the one who was so much attached to the kingdom, he again came back as a horse there. And then after hearing Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15th verse, he attained the ultimate abode. After seeing this, the king also started reading Bhagavad Gita. He given his empire to his son and retired himself. And again, he went into his spiritual journey, and he also achieved the ultimate abode by recitation of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15th verses. So we should understand that these verses are so refined because they have come from Krishna himself. They give us the topmost benefit. The topmost benefit we get from Bhagavad Gita. We should not think these are just simple shlokas set in a book form. No, these are the verses that been recited, that been said by Krishna to Arjuna for the benefit of all mankind. So Bhagavad Gita is very powerful, and Bhagavad Gita shlokas are very powerful. We should take it as a practice to read Bhagavad Gita daily. So here Krishna has given in this particular verse, Krishna has given the insight about like we should not speculate the knowledge. So from this story also we can relate that it's a story from Padma Puran where Parvati is getting all this knowledge because Shiva is narrating all this. So this knowledge is not new. Even the exalted Devi Devtas are also hearing these stories. So we should take the best benefit, not to speculate on all these things. So the purpose of the Vedas is, it's been mentioned here in the purport that only Krishna knows the purpose of the Vedas, no one else. So what is the purpose of the Veda? The purpose of the Vedas is to understand there is one person who is heading. There is one person who has created everything. And when you understand that knowledge, then you have understood everything. This is as simple as just saying this, that I have understood. What you have understood? I have understood that this everything belongs to Krishna. I myself also belongs to Krishna. This understanding is the best understanding. Whatever the purpose of any knowledge is to understand from where we have come, where we gonna go. So we have come from Krishna and we will end up in Krishna. Like it said, we have to accept him while we are alive and enjoy his beautiful pastimes. Is everything what Krishna does is so enchanting and attractive. Otherwise, we have to accept him at the time of death as a death personified. That is again Krishna. So, recognition of the spirit soul within the body, that is the first education for each and every individual. Unless one understands this simple fact, there is no question of any kind of spiritual advancement. We have to understand that I am a spirit soul surrounded by one particular kind of body. And we have to engage ourselves as much as possible in the service of Krishna. Surely, but surely, we should proceed further. We should try to get more association of devotees. We should try to get more association of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, eat more prasadam, think everything where I can serve devotees and where I can serve the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. But Krishna is so enchanting, especially in Shri Vrindavan Dham, in Shri Braj Dham. He is such a loving child. Even today, people relish all the stories of Krishna. It's been 1,000 years passed by. Still, Krishna is loved the same way he was loved when he was present on the planet. There one day, I was just talking to one of the senior Mataji, and some years back also I have heard this story through Dinabandhu Prabhuji when we were on some Braj Mandal Yatra. So there is a place where uh, Yashoda Maya has kept one how below. So the story goes like Krishna was playing with his cowherd friends, and Balrama was also there. And Yashoda Maya was trying to convince him to come back home so that he can eat his meal. As a mother, she was always worried about the health of the child, even though the child is a supreme personality of Godhead, who is the father of each and every one of us. But as a mother, Yashoda Maya was always worrying about Krishna's health, that he's playing a lot, he's not taking proper food, he will fall sick. So she sent one of her Gopika maid and asked to bring Krishna back to her so that she can give him a good prasadam. But Krishna was so much absorbed in his playful activities that he said, "No, I will take some time." Then then she sent another one. This where time passed by, and Krishna was thinking, if I will go without finishing my game, these my goal balls will not take me from tomorrow, and I will lose all my game. So let me play some more time. And he was thinking to go back, but as a child he was more absorbed in playful activities. So as a mother, Yashoda Maya tried to make him little fearful so that the child comes back home. So she said, Krishna, she just went close to Krishna where he was playing, and he said, Krishna, there is a how below, and he is having a big eyes, and his teeth are very big, he gonna eat you up. So come with me home. So he was not, he got so scared, he even not turned his neck here and there. And Yashoda Maya, to make him more fearful, she screamed and started running. Oh, how Bilal is gonna eat me up. Run, Krishna, run with me at home. He's such a big demon. Let's run to the home. She was running, Krishna was running, Balram was running, and all the Gwalwal started running. So at the end, she got her loving child at home. She was happy to feed the child. It was all her made story just to make Krishna come back home. So we can understand the one who is killing a demon a day. He was killing one demon before lunch, one after lunch, daily, one or the other. Sometimes Putna, Trinavat, Aghasur, Arishtasur, a lot many numbers are there, a lot many names are there. Krishna used to kill them on daily basis. The same Krishna is afraid of how Balau, which is just a made story by mother Yashoda. So Krishna understand the bhava of the mother, as she was really wanted the child back home so that she can provide some good meal and can have the motherly affection. That is what we call Vatsalya Bhava. In the five rasas, Vatsalya Bhava is a motherly affection toward the child. And Krishna used to enjoy it a lot, and Yashoda Maya used to enjoy it a lot. Even today in Vrindavan, we have a place where how Bilau is being established by Mother Yashoda to make the child see how Bilau is there. After this pastime, she made it install this how Bilau, a kind of fearful animal. We are having a big teeth and big eyes and big fur on the body. So Krishna is not afraid of anybody, but he is given respect to the words of the mother and just becoming a part of all this drama. Mother was enjoying the pastime, Krishna was enjoying the pastime, and today we all are enjoying the pastime. So Krishna is the one who actually makes us, every individual, connect with love. We all are hankering toward love and peace. These two things we are searching everywhere. The success, the success also brings you, peace in mind, the love in your surrounding, you being respected, everything. What we are doing, we really wanted to get peace and love, and we get both of these things through Krishna's pastime. When we hear Krishna's pastime, we really become so at peace that whatever turmoils we are going through, we really get that few minutes into some kind of different world where everything is so beautiful, everything is so enchanting and attractive. So this is what Krishna is. So we need not to doubt. We should we should know he is a supreme personality of Godhead, but he takes up different pastimes to attract different kind of people. We all are unique in ourselves. We all relish different aspects of life. We really relish different kind of food material. Same way, the Sambandha Gyan is also different. Everybody will not get attracted to Krishna in Vatsalya Bhav. The motherly, the fatherly love will not get attracted to each and every individual. Some would love to have friendly relationship with Krishna. So that comes Sakhya Bhav, where Krishna will play with you. Krishna will be your friend. Krishna will have all beautiful, playful pastime, playing here and there, jumping over you, and you jumping over Krishna. They used to have this kind of pastime where Krishna, the whosoever will lose the game, has to give a ride on the back. If Krishna will lose the game, he has to carry the winner on his back and give a round all around. So this was the pastimes. So some people really wanted to get this kind of relationship with Krishna in a Gwal Bhal Bhava, in a Sakha Bhava. So they have Sakhya Rasa, then Dasya Rasa, like Hanumana have the Dasya Rasa. Some of the devotees really relish as a Das Bhav, that Shri Bhagwan and is everything to me and I am his Dasa. So in Dasya Bhava, they do their bhajan kriya, that they wanted to get into the same bhava for the longer time, and that is what they are very much happy into. They don't want to taste other rasas. So there are different categories of different devotees. They are attracted to different pastimes of the Krishna, different bhavas, and then different rasas. The Vatsalya, and then come Madhurya Bhava. Madhurya Bhava is the loving relationship with Krishna. All the gopis used to enjoy the same bhava. Radharani is the topmost of all the gopis and the beloved of Krishna, and they used to enjoy every small thing, like making a garland of flower for Krishna, singing the glories of Krishna when they are working in their house, when they are just mobbing the house, they are just singing the glories. When they are cooking, they are singing the glories and absorbed in thinking of Krishna only. So these are the different ways in which we get attracted to Krishna and surrender to Him without any further speculation. Here, Prabhupada has mentioned that the word bhajati is very significant in many places. The word bhajati is expressed in relationship with the service of the Supreme Lord. If a person is engaged in full Krishna consciousness in the devotional service of the Lord, it is to be understood that he has understood all the Vedic knowledge. So, when you attain this kind of understanding that Krishna is a loving child, even though he is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the maker of the Vedas and he is to be understood by the Vedas. So the ultimate goal is to understand Krishna, is to serve Krishna. That is the perfect knowledge one can achieve with spiritual journey. If we are wasting our time trying to find out new ways, new shortcut, meditations, this and that, then we are really wasting our time. Where you can get attached to somebody who is so much loving. As I said, everyone is looking to get love, to get affection, and to be happy in the life. Spiritual life says you do whatever you like. With that, continue your spiritual journey. It's a thing when you start chanting, when you start reading, when you start associating, you get the different purpose of life. It's not limited only to what you are doing. You do whatever work you are doing. As a housewife, we get a lot time. We will not just waste our time in watching television or doing the gossip. You can read, you can pick up any Krishna book and start developing the connection. We all have the connection. It's not that we are gonna make a new connection. Every individual is having connection with Krishna. Only you have to nurture it. Only you have to give it some kind of food, in the sense of giving it with the knowledge of Krishna, stories of Krishna, so that you can again revive that beautiful relationship what is already there. The contact is already there. You have the connection, has to be just revived. So Krishna is our Father. Krishna is the one who has given us this life. Krishna is the father of all the demigods. All the 14 bhuvanas comes under his jurisdiction. But then he loves to be a part of uh, Yashoda Maya's pastimes. He wants to be a part of that leelas, and he really relishes that. So who will not wants to have a child like Krishna? Who will not because he did all his pastime in a perfect manner. He given the topmost satisfaction and love in every relationship what he has. As a son, he has given all love to Yashoda Maya. As a mother, she was always seeking when Krishna will come back, when she gonna feed the child with her own hand. So Krishna has given a very good standards for all relationship to take care of. When he was in Dwarika, he married 16,108 wife, and he was taking care of each and everyone very nicely. Everyone was given a beautiful palace, and he was personally taking care of them. Every uh, queen was proud that Krishna is only staying with me, but Krishna was staying with each and everyone and was taking care of everyone. So he has shown us the path where we can also render our service, our duties, our relationship to the topmost manner, where we surrender ourselves to the Krishna, but then we also do our duties, our work. But it's not like we have to leave everything, we have to run away from everything. No, you do whatever you service you are doing. If you are in some company, keep your work going. As a housewife, keep your work going, but then you take some time out and start to revive this connection what you're already having. Otherwise, life is just gonna finish any day. Nowadays, things have become more clear. Practical application has been shown by the world, the way we all are seeing the world going all around. So we are seeing all these things are practically applicable nowadays. So anybody can leave body any day, any time. But we should prepare ourselves. We should be ready with everything which is being required, which has been said by Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that you should chant. Everybody should chant daily, should read Bhagavad Gita. Try to make some of the connection with the devotees and with ultimate, of course, Srila Prabhupada and Sri Krishna. In that way, you will not waste your time. You will not waste your life. Whatever we are doing, it's gonna be here. We have to leave the body and go away. The soul depends on only our pious karmas, only our spirituality will lead us further. As in the story what we heard, the horse, he came back, the chief of the military came back as a horse because his attachment to the empire was so strong that he got a body of an animal, exalted kind of body, but he came back to the same place, to the same king. That is what attachment is all about. So we all should try to get attached more and more to Krishna, to more and more to his pastimes, and then there is a chance when we can go back home, back to Godhead. So reading is good, but we should also try to take it in practical form. Practical in the sense, yes, I am serving Krishna because he is the master of all of us. Yes, I have to be a better devotee because that's been said by Srila Prabhupada, that's been said by Krishna. So I have to work in this manner. One day I will become a good devotee. At least we start desiring. If you don't desire, it's not going to happen anyway. We have to put our step further, desire for spiritual life, start associating, and our life will be successful. Otherwise, we are just wasting our life and time. I'll stop here. If somebody is having some questions or some comments, I can take up.
So Hare Krishna, if you have some questions, you can raise your hand, and I've allowed you to unmute. You can unmute and ask your questions. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Seems like there's no questions today, Mataji. Oh, no, here's one. Hare Krishna, please ask. Hare Krishna, if you have a question, please ask. I see somebody has unmuted themselves. Please ask your question. I think maybe that was by mistake.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.